I have to remind myself, and Brad, you probably do too, like when I was introduced to a more, you know, I guess evidence-based approach, it it was coming from a place where I was doing things pretty inefficiently. And so doing like going from, you know, a meal plan and something that I had managed to get myself into the habits of doing, and then going to something like tracking, or, you know, a more not training to failure every set. Like these were easy changes for me to make. You know, I remember like the first time I transitioned to like a more, you know, macro based approach, it was more liberating than it was difficult.
I remember that too. Yeah.
And I think that that's not necessarily the case for a lot of people coming in now, because I think they're just they've been exposed to it already through social media or whatever. So I have to remind myself of that. Like, you know, they're coming from a different place. Like how do you want to meet them where they're at, and what steps do you want to take to get them to this point which acutely seems very daunting for that individual.
It's a great point, Brian, because it's like depends on our past experience, what's difficult and what's not.
Yeah. For me, it was like, this is like autopilot now, you know,
Yeah.
and it got to the point where it's like, okay, like this is easy, but it's not something I should need to be doing in the off season. You know, it's like, and that's one thing with, you know, I think we're kind of using nutrition here quite a bit. But reminding people that, you know, the guidelines that we provide, it's not the guidelines themselves that are causing the progress. It's like just the cumulative structure that it's providing that's driving this progress. And I think that helps kind of avoid that on-off mentality where someone is, you know, okay, well, I went over my macros by 5 grams, you know, and then everything starts to kind of snowball from there. Getting them to understand this is just a rough structure to kind of steer the ship in the right direction, but there's leeway, there's a buffer there, either way. And so I think that's an important reminder when you're introducing people to a more structured approach like that, is like this. What's going to dictate your results isn't necessarily whether or not you're hitting these things down to the gram. It's where, like, are we steering the ship where we want to go? Are we building the structure and, you know, pushing that in the direction that we want to go? And because I do think that it's not rare, and you've probably seen this, Steve, like to have people that they sort of miss the overall big picture when they think, like, you know, getting to this, like the precision itself is what's driving the progress, not the environment that the precision's providing, which can still be achieved without a militant mindset. So
I want to write that down. That's good.